Okay, here we go. Thank you, Mr. Fessler. All right, good morning. Try that again. Good morning. Good morning. All right. This class, as we get through the day, seniors were first period, and juniors and sophomores and freshmen, you guys start to wake up a little bit, which is good. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk to you about ALiCE. And ALiCE is a training program in case we have an active shooter in our building. But these skills, or the demonstrations you're going to see, you can not only use here, but you can use outside of school. For those of you who plan on attending college or university, active shooters, unfortunately, that takes place there as well. It takes place, you can watch TV, it can take place in a movie theater, or at a concert, or anywhere outside of school. So the information that you're going to receive today, hopefully you're never ever in this situation, but if you are, maybe, just maybe, the information that we're going to present to you today will not only save your life, but the lives around you. So ALiCE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. Mr. Gibson, along with Colonel and Sergeant, they're going to demonstrate, along with First Period JROTC, the different measures that you can take in order to do everything you can to be safe in case there was ever an active intruder or an active shooter in our building. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gibson, and then we will talk again when this is over about our drill that we're going to have on Tuesday. Mr. Gibson?
The purpose of ALiCE training is to prepare individuals to handle the threat of an active shooter. ALiCE teaches individuals to participate in their own survival while leading others to safety. Though no one can guarantee success in this type of situation, this new set of skills will greatly increase the odds of survival should anyone face this form of disaster. ALiCE is an acronym for 5 steps that you can utilize in order to increase your chances of surviving a surprise attack by an active shooter. It is important to remember that the ALiCE response does not follow a set of actions you shall, must, or will do when confronted with an active shooter. While accountability, liability, and responsibility is important, in this case, survivability is paramount in this situation. Therefore, a proactive, options-based policy and training is necessary. Individuals may choose any or all parts of the response plan. While the ALiCE acronym makes it easier to remember, it is not sequential or linear. In this type of incident, perception is the reality, and individuals must decide for themselves what is in their best interests. To make it easy to remember in a stressful situation, ALiCE is broken up into 5 strategies: alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate. The ALiCE acronym is meant, again, not to be a linear or sequential strategy, but just as tactics that apply to any situation. The purpose of alert is your first notification of danger. The purpose of lockdown is to secure in place and prepare to evacuate, or counter if needed. The purpose of inform is communicate the violent intruder's location and direction in real time. The purpose of counter is to create noise, movement, distance, distraction with the intent of reducing the shooter's ability to shoot accurately. Counter is not fighting. The purpose of evacuate is to remove yourself from the danger zone when it is safe. In our first scenario, we are going to show you what a traditional lockdown and old alert system that we have become accustomed to using looks like.
Red. Code red. Code red.
End scene. Students, in this scenario, how many students felt a shot or feel they were injured? It's the majority of the classroom. In our next scene, we will introduce the new alert system and we will evacuate. A Alert can be anything using no code words. It could be a description. It could simply be gunfire. It could be a witness making an accurate assessment. It could be over the PA announcement. It could be a phone alert, a text, or emergency messaging. In Evacuate, you are to remove yourself from the danger zone as quickly as possible. Decide if you can safely evacuate and run in a zigzag pattern as fast as you can. Do not have anything in your hands. Do not stop running until you are far away from the danger. This is very important, and we must stress, keep going. Even in the event that you would evacuate your room and suddenly run into the active shooter, or find yourself in a location that the active shooter is in, do not stop. Continue running to evacuate the building. If you have to, break out windows and attempt to quickly clear glass from the frame. Evacuating from the classroom door is not necessarily the best evacuation policy. Go directly to a rally point. In our case, and for our drill on Tuesday, our rally points will be our fire drill locations. Follow all commands given by law enforcement and do not attempt to drive from the area. Remain there until you can be evacuated safely to another location. This is what evacuation would look like.
Attention, attention. There is an intruder in our building. He is shooting. He is located at the office and headed toward Mr. Diamond's room. There is a shooter in the building headed toward Mr. Diamond's room. He is now moving toward the science wing. He is in the science wing. He is wearing tan pants and a blue shirt. He is in the science wing.
And scene. In this case, they stopped to listen where the intruder was. The information that is being given is located in our situation in the office, in our main office, over the PA system. They felt that the intruder was heading toward Mr. Diamond's room, toward the science wing, and because this is the JROTC room, they can make their way out of their room and evacuate the building safely. Our next scenario is called an enhanced lockdown. This is a semi-secure starting point from which to make several decisions. If you decide not to evacuate, secure the room. Lock the door, cover any windows in the door if possible. Tie down the door if possible using belts, purse straps, shoelaces, etc. Barricade the door with anything available, desks, chairs. Look for alternate escape routes, out of the window or out other doors. Call 911. Move out of the doorway in case gunfire comes through it, and silence or place your cell phones on vibrate. This is so that the intruder may not necessarily know someone is in that room. If you are in the hallway during this situation, you will find that many of the doors are locked. That is part of the lockdown procedure. So if you happen to be at the bathroom when something like this occurs, your instinct should be to evacuate the building as fast as possible. No longer report back to the room that you were in. Evacuate the door. This is what an enhanced lockdown may look like.
Attention, attention. There is an intruder in our building. He is in the office area and moving toward the JROTC room. He is wearing tan pants and a blue shirt. He is moving down the steps toward the JROTC room. He has moved past the JROTC room and is now heading toward the band room. He is at the band room. He has made the turn and is heading down the steps toward the English department.
And scene. You will notice that our students barricaded the door with tables, chairs. The fire hose was used to block the doorway and restrain the door opening system. There was also a student who grabbed a belt and was going to wrap it around the door handle and secure it to a table. By any means, secure the door so that no one can enter. When the lockdown was finished, according to our information system and alert system, the JROTC room then could have waited, heard that they were now in the English room, in the English wing, and then could have made a judgment as to should we evacuate at this time. Once again, the alert system is coming from our main office or one of our other locations in which we have a visual of our camera system so we can tell where the shooter is. That is the goal through the alert system. If it would be that that is not possible, then anyone having information can use the alert system to tell us where that shooter is. And your teachers will have directions on how to do that in the event that that is needed. Our last situation is the counter. This is a last resort when other options are not available or feasible. This is the use of simple, proactive techniques that will make the active shooter's ability to shoot accurately more difficult. This is not fighting. This is countering the attack. To counter an attack, use noise, movement, noise and distraction, and when age appropriate, the swarm technique to gain back control. Throw things at the shooter's head to disrupt their aim. Create as much noise as possible. The swarm technique involves grabbing the shooter's limbs and head and take them to the ground and hold them there. Run around the room and create chaos and try to evacuate if possible. If you have control of the shooter, call 911, secure the weapon, and tell the police where you are and listen for their commands when the officers arrive on scene. If an active shooter or armed intruder enters the classroom, individuals are to use whatever counter strategies necessary to keep the students safe. This includes any and all forms of resistance to the threat. If an active shooter or armed intruder enters and begins shooting, any and all actions to stop the shooter are justified. This includes making noise, moving about the room to lessen the accuracy, throwing items such as books, computers, phones, chairs, book bags, to interfere with the ability to shoot accurately, safely exiting out windows or doors, and taking control of the intruder. Anyone not involved in the counter strategies should get out of the way if possible and move to another location. For our scenario, instead of throwing books, chairs, and computers, the students will be using soft tennis balls just as a demonstration purpose. This would be the counter. For our scenario, instead of throwing books, chairs, and computers, the students will be using soft tennis balls just as a demonstration purpose. This would be the counter.
Attention, attention. There is a shooter in our building. Please secure yourself. The shooter is in the main lobby. He is headed toward the JROTC room. He has entered the JROTC room. Students are evacuating. He is in the
Students securing the shooter. Someone would then take the gun, get it out of the way. Someone else would call 911 and inform them that they know where the shooter is. The shooter is in that room in the building. Everyone else in the building should have been evacuating or locking down. And another key element is during any time, during a lockdown, if you are in a room, do not open the door until the law enforcement officer or someone that you can identify has come to that room to tell you to open the door. Okay? We need to think about things like this as we move forward, especially in our fire drill situations. When the fire drill occurs, we no longer will hear a fire alarm and run out of the room or go through the halls to our point. Instead, stop, listen, evaluate the situation. Is this really a fire drill? Is there a fire? If the teacher says, I do not know that this is a fire drill, I have not received an email, you need to think about why are we going out into the hallway? Is that the best situation?
If we could, please give JROTC a big round of applause. We'll talk to you briefly about our drill on Tuesday. So Tuesday, second period, we're going to have our first ALiCE drill. We're going to have in our building at that time what we're going to call two active shooters. There will be one upstairs and there will be one downstairs. They will have probably an orange vest on, during that drill. Most likely it'll be Officer Dissinger and Colonel Stefanchek. They will be our active shooters. And imagine if you are right now down in the math wing and it comes over the PA system that there's an active shooter in the math wing, or outside of Mr. Salem's room, or outside of Mrs. Wolfgang's room. If you're in those classrooms, you need to process quickly over which part of ALiCE you are going to do. Your teacher has already been talking to you about this, and your teacher will also probably be the lead during this situation. But there may be another situation where there is a substitute in the room. Or, as Colonel will talk about in a minute, what if you're in the auditorium? What if you're in the cafeteria? How do you react during that time? So on Tuesday, you have two options. One option is to evacuate. The other is to do an enhanced lockdown. Your teacher will talk to you about what you can use for this enhanced lockdown. What desks you can use. Can you move a filing cabinet? Can you move whatever is in the room? Our goal is for you to move furniture in front of the door, but not to destroy anything in the room during this drill. If you're going to...
Okay, just real quick. So the teachers are going to talk to you about the classrooms. And you have to be thinking about each classroom you go into. They're all different. The bigger point, though, is when these people do these things, they're looking for a lot of people. Like right now, you've got the entire GU class in the auditorium. You're not going to lock down in the auditorium. You got to get out. You're not going to lock down in the cafeteria during lunch. You're not going to lock down in the gym during a basketball game. When you come to these events, it's unfortunate because it's really like this these days. You need to have that in your mind. How do I get out? Where am I going? Okay? Think about this. We're not going to have a chance to rehearse the cafeteria during the year. That makes sense. Maybe in the future, perhaps. You personally need to be ready. You need to think. I sit next to the cashiers up there. Am I going out the front, the side, or what? So it doesn't come to that moment. You need to get it. You need to know.
An important message that I forgot to drive home to you is students on stage during the first scenario of our traditional old-fashioned lockdown. How many students were hit? During the second scenario in which we evacuated, how many students were hit? During the third scenario in which we did an enhanced lockdown, how many students were hit? During the counter stage, how many students were hit? Doing something and making choices is a lot better than waiting. And that's what ALiCE really is all about, making those choices.
One last point for our drill on Tuesday. Again, here in the hallway, and our drill begins. Again, as we talked about, the doors may be locked everywhere. You can go out on your own during the drill, and obviously, if there's a real active shooter in our building, you have the green light to get out of the building, because they are not going to open their door because they are unsure of what is going on out there. So you can continue to search. You may find anything that is open. You also absolutely have the green light to leave the building. I can't thank Mr. Gibson, Colonel, Sergeant, Officer Dissinger, and in the back, Henry Snyder, for all our help putting this together. What questions? We have some time left before we go back to the second period. If you have any questions,